At the beginning of 2001, I was with the North Carolina Department of Transportation, and I was finishing up what was about 4 years of time serving as the division traffic engineer, and really felt like I wanted to do something different than be a government employee. So I started with an engineering firm in Greensboro. That was my first consulting job, and at the time, the economy was starting to slow down, but we really didn't know how much was going to happen. So they brought me on to lead the office. Chain of events, things didn't go the way they thought things were going to go for that company. So they ended up having to scale back. And so first in, first out. Unfortunately, my last day of work was Friday before 9/11. And so for people that were alive or remember 9/11, the world just stopped. And so I liken that to musical chairs. If anyone's ever played musical chairs, when the music stops and you don't have a chair to sit in, it's kind of uncomfortable. And that's exactly what happened for me on that Tuesday. And it became transformative, because at that point I really had to assess, what value do you actually bring to the society, to the economy? Why should someone pay you what you think you should get paid? And through all those thoughts and processes, and through prayer, it became apparent that I actually could start my own company and do this myself. Now, that wasn't where I started. Neither one of my parents graduated from high school. My dad had an 8th grade education and my mother had an 11th grade education. I was first generation high school and first generation college. And I knew nothing about corporate America, and I knew nothing about certainly running an organization like I'm doing now. I was essentially broke. I mean, and when I say broke, I mean broke. We had one mortgage payment left in the bank. And after that, I wasn't gonna have any more money to be able to pay mortgage for my house. So essentially I started the company without an office. I found a corner in the kitchen and set up a computer, and that's where John Davenport Engineering started. When you first start into a business, or any venture for that matter, someone has to give you a chance. You don't have a record. You know, I had my experience at the Department of Transportation, and I had the experience at the other consulting firm, but that was limited compared to what other folks had that had been in the industry for decades. So what's important is that someone sees some potential and they're willing to take a risk. 2003, we began to develop a backlog. And at some point that year, we started hiring employees. And it became very clear that we're actually a real company. And I'm not just out here consulting, I actually am building something. As the firm grew and we got more and more work, it was not as much faith about when the work is going to come in as the workers. And so in the early years, we had way more work than we had workers. I remember one of the individuals we have working with us, his first day, he worked all night with me on a project to get it done. And that was the culture then. We just had to do whatever it took, and we didn't have enough labor. But still, understanding the same principles of walking by faith and trusting was what brought us through that. Giving back is a core principle. And as I mentioned earlier, someone did give me personally an opportunity first to work at the North Carolina Department of Transportation, unproven, and then later to start a consulting firm, unproven. So it's very important to me, not just locally, but globally, to be a part of that success with other people. It's the most rewarding part of what I do, is the giving back, the working with other people, giving them opportunities. I mean, clearly we like to come here and make money. That's why you work. You have to pay your bills. You want to take your family on vacations. You got to send the kids to school. But you can do that and not have the experiences that I have every day, and I wouldn't like that. And most of the people who work here wouldn't be here if they didn't get the opportunity to do those things that are greater than just making a paycheck. We will continue to grow, so the next logical step is to begin to groom a new generation of leadership. So I'm still relatively young, and I'm going to continue to run the company, but at some point we need to grow some leadership within the organization that can begin to take the reins, and I can begin to pass things on, because it's very important to me that the legacy of the firm continue. So, and it's humbling, but one has to always think about the fact that you're not the only individual on the team, and that if you're truly doing something that's going to be great, that others have to be part of that as well. And so that's the stage that I find myself in now, is bringing leaders around me and people that have like vision, that we can work together and do something greater than I could do as an individual, and that actually has value for more than just me.